If you find the information useful, please click the like button so others can find our content. For more information, please visit us at thejerusalemassembly.org. If you have questions, contact us on our Facebook page. The links are provided in the description below. April 11, 2020. Living with the Aftermath of the Coronavirus. By Ruben D. Garcia. You are probably like the millions of people on our earth wondering what happened, how it all took place, causing such deadly outcomes, and most important, when it will be over. I suspect, you probably would be grateful beings for whatever truthful explanations could be given not only during this crisis but most valuable what is to come after the crisis has been abated. For the time being, tolerance and patience must be exercised. In its good time, the truth of this entire crisis will be known, and I can tell you, the disclosure that is to be for certain, will not only surprise the people of this earth but it will radically change our beliefs. Some people may be very surprised to learn that the normality of the past may not be as expected, and the valuable trust humanity placed in some world leaders will deteriorate to the point for some to crumble. It is a very strong possibility that many things will change, but the most valuable experience from of this crisis will be the level of the radical power of our conscience being altered. That is, our way of thinking and our perceptive virtues will have a radical transformation forever. Humanity will not take things for granted anymore. In fact, the so-called transparency will be a major benefactor of the result of the COVID-19 crisis that affected everyone on this earth in one way or another. This phenomenal and radical transformation has been identified as the awakening. Yes, my beloved readers, an indescribable event of such radical spiritual and conscience development and discovery will follow right after the existence of the now deadly and troublesome COVID-19. The question that will be prevalent shortly after the world begins to recognize that COVID-19 is under control will be what was the purpose or aim by the existence of this unique virus. Society has experienced and witnessed the devastation other viruses have caused, and its impact in comparison to COVID-19 can be considered negligible, except for the plague of the Black Death that devastated Europe, Asia, and part of Africa from 1347 to 1353 and killing over 75 million people. Most known crisis in the last 100 years derived from a virus and has been limited to certain areas, never worldwide until the year 2019 and 2020. It will be conceived by writers to be the deadliest in modern times. It is worth noting here that the virus was unique in nature and design. Various individuals known for their knowledge of virus structure and potential damaging factors are commenting about the structure that made COVID-19. There has been other coronavirus in the past but never one like this. It is believed to be a sophisticated one. Also, it has been identified to have superior qualities not found in previous coronavirus. The question remains how this virus became so deadly. As of now, mankind is only offering opinions and speculations. Thus, since the science community cannot give a justifiable answer, we must rely on comments, rumors, and he said/she said. However, the truth of all of this unprecedented case of COVID-19 will be known throughout the world in various piecemeal documents, all within the span of 12 months after May 31, 2020. What is urgently needed as I write this article during this week and this month of religious celebrations of the three major religions is tolerance, something that has lacked not only in America but throughout the world. Yes, my beloved readers, tolerance, not only to have the capacity to endure hardships but understand suffering and the pain, for example, this virus has caused around the globe. For a long time, I can tell you since World War I, the world became diversified and non-united. It was not all dysfunctional, but humanity was on such a path. In fact, in the last 100 years plus, there were some bright moments of unity and acceptance, but they were short-lived. However, let's also be frank and honest, the virtues of greatness in an individual, group, or even a nation are truth, freedom, and respect toward each. The virtue of cohesiveness is vital to any society. In fact, it happens to be the fertile ground in which tolerance finds its growth but also defines the soon-to-be end of that society's demise that would be just around the corner, because the virtue of tolerance is the last of the virtues that defines humanity. Tolerance is a principle that must be recognized vital to survivability as we transition through COVID-19. It would be as an individual having to survive a storm to see a new day. We live in the United States of America, supposedly a great nation under God. Do all Americans believe in this? Not really, but many do. It is this belief in a greater power that made this country. Yes, there were many sacrifices by so many individuals for us to get here. In fact, unity was the seed of this nation's success. Well, prior to COVID-19, our political arena was like the Roman Colosseum during a religious festival. Political leaders with illicit agendas forgot the rule to life of every citizen of this nation, the unalienable right that includes the pursuit of happiness. In fact, most often we observed from the media, other political organizations and leaderships using the customary gesture often carried by Nero, the Roman emperor, thumbs down. Sadly, but truthfully, the truth hurts, and here, during this period that I would call the Gang of Tantrums, was the perfect atmosphere for COVID-19 to make its appearance into the unexpected and unprepared world. Regrettably, I wish it all would not have happened, but it was urgently needed for humanity to look at itself in the mirror of life and destiny and begin to see that the once beautiful youth is now slowly showing sign of aging and burden, lacking not only emotional care but also spirituality, and it was taking its toll on this great nation. Thus, November 2019 was to become the month of reckoning, and on the 17th day of the month, the gun went off and began the marathon race for humanity to run for its life. Prior to the race, the United States of America was dancing to the glorious tunes of a Brazilian carnival, but the whole world was in a syndrome of economical euphoria from which just about every citizen of the earth was engrossed in a splendid and magnificent life. In fact, most of the globe was looking forward to the holidays and even a brighter future than the one just experienced. And this was the perfect weather for the launch of COVID-19 and its unsuspected attack onto an unsuspected audience once thought to be invincible. That's why so many people in the world did not take COVID-19 serious and resourced to not follow the mandates to prevent such catastrophic ends such as it has been here in the USA and European countries. Every crisis, whether natural or man-created, blames often surfaces as means to compensate for the delirium of mental sorrows usually associated with any dramatic episode. Simply, it is difficult to accept the proverbial, "I screwed up." It requires a change in the attitude of the individual. It can be from a soldier to a general, or from a president down to a worker. It is not an easy endeavor to realize that something could have been done better. What is essential is to pick up the pieces and focus on how to improve, put together, and to recognize what was learned from the episode. This attitude does not single out leadership, but it involves every single individual affected by the episode, and this is the clue to understanding what is needed to begin to consider at the aftermath of the dramatic event. First, remove the negative thoughts or presumptions from within you about discovering whose fault it was. There is no value in exercising your mind on these issues because the truth will be revealed for sure. It will come from an individual or a group with remorse or inner sorrow for they knew and did nothing to prevent it. It may not be immediately. It may take 12 months or more before the truth is revealed, but it will be made known and lives will change around the globe. Second, begin to look on the bright side of not only your condition but the overall state of your being. Simply, assess the motives not only before, during, and after the episode and how its existence constrained you from what you called normality that you once enjoyed. Purpose? Because in all cases dramatic events or crisis do not entertain the previous normality and most often brings about a new normality that must be understood and assess how you fit in it. Third, evaluate the situation, especially during the mid-journey of the episode. Assess it to the best of your ability. Adjust accordingly to the ongoing trend to adequately prepare for the next step. Preparation would have been the perfect exercise for this crisis, and for whatever reason you held out and did not prepare adequately. However, if good preparation was not conceived, now is the time to conceive a survival plan that accommodates your needs and the needs of your loved ones. This will be very essential to recognize now during COVID-19 because it may have a reoccurrence or similar condition and you must be prepared for such an encounter. Fourth, write down all of your perceptions during and after the episode. Simply, Make a diary. Most of us cannot remember everything, especially when you discover that the stress of the situation caused preoccupations that consumed your cognitive efforts to the point that created more forgetfulness than remembrance. This will aid for the next time, since you don't want to be unprepared for any other similar conditions as you were this time. Fifth, remain constantly with a positive outlook. Considering the negativity of the drama is not in any way helpful, at least when we are concerned with COVID-19. What I mean with positive attitude is to recognize that first of all, you and your loved ones are in much better shape than other individuals in other parts of the globe. It may sound insensitive, but it must be considered because it helps you view how blessed you are. It also aids in your spirituality, which always is vital to not only confront but experienced in its purity during crisis and difficulties. It also is very helpful to us, affording the opportunity to take a closer look at our many hidden feelings. Sixth, entertain yourself with the best plan or outcome to what will be needed to begin a new outlook when the episode affords you the opportunity to begin where you left off. However, keep in mind that what was the normal routine you were exercising prior to the episode for all planning purpose will not be there. Therefore, it is best to begin on a nominal or point of reference. This point of reference or start is not necessarily equal for everybody, because emotional, spiritual, and mental stabilities will be different for every affected individual, and giving it great consideration will play a major role in the designation of your after-episode plan of attack. Seventh, remain at all cost calm. The ability to remain calm allows you to focus clearly on the situation. Being overwhelmed by anxieties, fears, and disillusions impedes and harms you in more ways than you think. Remember this one: the failure of the survival, as you have seen, as the result of such disregarded conditions mentioned above during the COVID-19 crisis, was because of lack of preparation and simply disregard for the seriousness of it, or for any formidable crisis reason. The value of not only surviving this or any crisis is dependent on you having a level head. More often than not, human beings tend to be more reactive than active. An active person plans. The reactive expects to receive from what the active person that has planned. They may do this in subtle ways first, but regards violence as a justifiable demand for their ultimate survival. It is a frightened thought, but it can be very real. Be shrew as a snake but innocent as a dove. Of course, there are many other alternatives to endure COVID-19. The world still has another 50 days to deal with COVID-19, and that includes our nation. New York is already breathing a sigh of relief, but there are other parts of the United States that have yet to reach the peak. However, one valuable aspect of this, for now, is much has been learned since the New York perils. These and many other principles can now assist the other states in coping with their COVID-19 demise in a shorter period of time. Thus, what was experienced by the citizens of New York City will impact other citizens of other states, and they will take the crisis more serious and will be a lot more obedient and less stressful than the citizens of New York City. I call this phenomenon spiritual refraction. In conclusion, as I mentioned earlier, there are many other alternatives other than the 7 mentioned here, but for the purpose of brevity and keeping it simple and providing the cookbook version, this will aid you and are simple to follow and execute. I should know, I wrote a pamphlet in 1997 addressing the critical issues of survival during a severe crisis. The points above are a composite of what was in the pamphlet. You have my personal commitment that I will continue providing you with the words of wisdom and those related from the higher order as we continue this divine journey that began for humanity on December 21, 2012 and will continue until the year 2040 with various events, episodes with some of them such as COVID-19, which will make a cameo appearance again by late 2029 and will encompass a 3-month existence into the year 2030, a coincidence? Nope. But by then, humanity will have learned of the effects of 2020 and be well prepared thanks to new medical technologies and of course, humanity's new consciousness. I request, or at least, I provide you this spiritual note. Take the next 50 days of the effect of this COVID-19 to genuinely consider what every human being needs to recognize. What changes do I have to make to become not so spiritual, and how do I seek truth? Yes, the truth of whom you truly are. What purpose is in all of this? What path is the episode of COVID-19 telling me that I must change? In fact, every human is right now aware that changes are coming, not only for each individual but as a collective. All of this has a very important if not critical meaning because one single reason, I described it in my novel God's Chosen Ones, to become a being of higher spirituality, but it goes far beyond that, and I will disclose it here for you so you can begin to consider why I have in the past few years aware of and what your heart and soul will be telling you to do soon. You have known this since before the onset of COVID-19, which humanity has to change. Herewith, is the reason of all that has taken place since December 21, 2012, and we have begun a critical zenith at the year 2020. Let's begin first with your mind. That is, what your mind has conceptualized for so long, the negativity that engulfed you in your daily lives will no longer be exercised, but rather you will begin to apply greater value in a degree of positivity that will bring a whole new consciousness and a new awareness. Due to this transformation you will also realize that all if not most of what you learned was erroneous. In short, science, the nature of God, the heavens, the universe, our earth, inclusive humanity has been manipulated, and the new consciousness will open unbelievable fields once thought to be forbidden for any human being to enter, for trespassing would deem at least to be sacrilegious to say the least. Oh yes, the truth of all that was and is, will be revealed, and an awesome revelation will be like wildfire in summer. You think the quick and unstoppable journey and truth of COVID-19 was spectacular? Wait and see what the universe, the heavens, has stored for you not only in 2020 but 2021 and 2022, especially 2022 when the greatest moment in humanity existence will be revealed. All you need to do is keep your eyes toward the sky, and from that moment, humanity, the old earth, has passed away, and the new earth along with its new human beings will begin a journey that will go beyond the stars. I will be here not only providing every aspect of this marvelous awakening but also the assurance that even we may seem to be caught within that proverbial aspect I learned while in the military, a step forward will be for humanity beginning in September 2020. However, as time progresses toward the year 2040, there will be leaps of 2 forward steps in all aspects of humanity's existence. However, alongside the 2 steps we will encounter episodes, events from natural to man-made that will make our forward movement a reverse step. But this, shall I call it, backsliding, is not in perilous aspects but in learning how to accomplish the next 2 steps to be favorable. This trend of 2 steps forward and 1 step back does not merit fear or anxieties. Each factor that creates the episode, even an act, is for the purpose to improve, refine, or hone our abilities as a new humanity to ascend to greater levels. By 2040, the scope of what humanity will be unimaginable, but it will be, my beloved readers, for I was given that picture of the new humanity in our new consciousness in 1981 and 1987. Since then, I dedicated my life to bringing this awareness to you by publishing a novel and writing almost 100 articles. In some retrospect, it was not an easy task as I once thought it could be. I can tell you that I often considered quitting the efforts because it seemed that it fell onto deaf ears. Those moments were stressed and many times filled with disillusions beyond measure, but it seems that the great I Am and his celestial entourage would not let me give up, for often, they reminded me that I would see all that has been given. I was to be patient and believe beyond the measures that incapacitated me all of those years. And in 2005 when the novel was published I rejoiced because I witnessed what I was told it would be. To be here in 2020 and witness the COVID-19 crisis and be cognizant that other changes are in store for humanity, some of which I have written in previous articles, are only but the leaves of a tree which the time to bear the fruit has not arrived, but there will be a harvest and will give the fruit at its appointed time as foretold by the great I Am. I waited patiently while standing by the corner of a busy street waving a flag for all passerbys to take notice of what is written on the standing board with a banner. It is what all light workers and star seeds have been doing and are doing, and anxiously waiting for more of humanity to believe and trust in the great light and finally leave the darkness of an old earth which enslaves humanity's divine potentials and began the awakening as foretold. Until such moment, I will continue waving my flag to alert the curious ones. I hope someone will take notice of what my board announces and the banner signifies to what is written. We are not alone in all of this, believe me. A billion or more are already aware all that is to come, and we are all trying with all of our utmost energies and potentials to bring you this awareness. Thus, I remain here for you through my articles and supplications for a quick recognition for humanity as a whole to grasp the reality of all that is taking place and soon will be upon us until the year 2030. One final word, the awakening is real and so are the E.Ts. The extraordinary teams watching and comforting humanity through various aspects from the Great Light. And so it is, my beloved friends. You are not alone by no means. On the contrary, you are surrounded by a vast spectrum of celestial beings that would boggle your mind. You just need to believe and trust. Let not your mind control what your heart is telling you to feel and what your soul wants you to see. Namaste.